Hey everyone, I'm finally here ready to share with you my current state of the Thea 3 Blasphemer character mind control build that I've been using. I'm going to jump into a profound real quick to show you some gameplay. Quick disclaimer. Yes, this can do profound. In my opinion, it's more of a 8-2 farmer right now because you can go a lot faster, a lot safer in 8-2, as you can see. This can easily progress and clear the profound, especially if, you know, you're not distracted and making a video in the process and dodge everything. But yeah, point is, in my current, my opinion is, I would say this is currently an 8-2 farming spot. That's where I spend most of my time right now. But I did want to show the profound gameplay in the video to just show you guys that yes, it's strong enough to do profound. It's up to you if you like this speed and this play style. Yeah, just get into profound. Honestly, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with doing this, especially now. It started off a little rough in the map, but as you can see, this isn't the worst. I died again. Awkward. Not allowed to have fun. Now, the character's really strong. I made some budgety choices along the way to try and get some big ticket items before they go up in price. And that's where we're at. So I'm going to keep you all updated once we get out of this map, and I'll show you what we've come up with. TLDR, the character's really fun. The gameplay is you push mind control. Like all my other characters, hold down your walk button and watch your screen blow up around you. It's very easy gameplay, very mobile friendly. And yes, I do use pets. We'll roll the cube because why not? It's very profound. Maybe we get lucky. You know, maybe we get a corner for the video. Huh? Nah, of course, never lucky. All right, let's dive into what we're doing here. We are going to start off with the talents. It's very simple. You start off in Goddess of Deception. I'm going to grab damage. Here you have two choices. If you want the movement speed, you don't really need the skill area. But if you want the movement speed, you can grab it up here. If not, you can just throw like 3 points into the attack speed down here, or even 3 into a little bit of move speed. Ignore this point, save it, move it somewhere else if you want. Up here, we're going to grab some energy shield. This is something you grab later. It's not a must grab right away. This is more a final, oh, I'm 100, I need more defenses kind of point. So don't worry about that. Damage over time here. We're going to go up here to grab our Reap and Persistent skill level and some erosion and additional damage. So over here, we're using Windwalker. And then right now, we are currently using Deceiver's Might. I do want to play around with some of these other options. This is kind of good. It's holding me at my 4-4-4 blessing. Especially my 4 focus, which I need. We'll get into that later. But it's kind of situational. It's not the best. And it's great if you can have them all going. We don't really crit, so we're not going to get agility. It's a little awkward. I am going to play around with it more, but I am currently using Deceiver's Might. The one I'm looking at is Forbidden Power or Subtle Impact. Maybe if you want to experiment, you can. Then I jump down to the Warlock tree. I grab some damage, some Affliction effect. Jumped over here. This again is more of a at the end of your leveling progress. And honestly, I'm still experimenting with this. There's been a lot of ailment things popping me off. Maybe you've run into that laser beam guy in the season mechanic that just lasers you down really fast and there's not much you could do about it. Yeah, it's really annoying. So I'm trying to find ways around that. I'm playing around with this. You don't need it. It's just, but I do like it. It's kind of showing some potential. We'll get you an update in the next video. Cooldown recovery is great with the max charge. Over here, we got more damage. We got all skill levels, and then the blur and the movement speed. Again, if you have this over here, you're gaining. You don't need this to gain the blur. This is movement speed. It's kind of extra. You don't need it, but I like the movement speed. I like more ways to get blur. So it's there. If you need to cut points because you're not 100 or you don't have all the points yet, this is another thing you could potentially cut. We're gonna grab Indifference over here and Off the Beaten Track over here. Over here, finally, we're gonna end up in Psychic. We're gonna grab our damage over time, our skill effect duration, our damage to crowd controlled effect. Units affected by crowd control take more damage. Reaping duration. Down here we have our grudge in ailments. Now, if you want to use grudge or you have a grudge candle, you don't need these points. And you can use these 4 points somewhere else. I have the extra points, so I'm using this instead of using the support grudge. But like, if you want to play around with the points, this is something you can play around with. Just make sure you have grudge either on a candle or some way to activate it, like on your main skill or your support skills or whatever. But having grudge and specifically paralysis is very important. So one way or the other, here or with the grudge support or candle. We're going to go up to here for some reaping cooldown recovery speed. We're going to grab our affliction inflicted per second and the minus resistance and some more additional damage against cursed targets. We are going to grab affliction over here, and here we're going to grab purification. Now you could mess around with verbal abuse if you don't have the candle and you want to do 2 curses. If you don't have poison omen and you want to do 2 curses. And honestly, I'm not even doing 2 curses yet. I'm just going to wait. But if you really want to rush 2 curses, you can slam verbal abuse to bridge that gap. Comboed with more with less. More with less is kind of slightly better than reap by itself. At the moment, if it's weird like that, you get higher up, reap will be better. But in its current state, this is better. But you have more with less, usually on your boots. I hope I didn't sell my old boots so that I can show you them. Where'd my old boots go? Question mark. Did I might have disenchanted and or sold them. So the old boots I'm talking about are, if I can find them real quick, awkwardly in the video, are Kingsbeard, and they will give you more with less. I was using these all until just before making this video, and I made a quick pivot, but this is what I recommend. This is what you should use. The next part I'm going to show you is what I changed it to, and it's pretty expensive, so don't do that. All right, so those are your talents. Now, I will jump ahead to explain the King's Boom thing. As you can see, I did switch to Lone Walkers, which means I did lose more with less, and normally if you're doing that, you would put more with less on. However, again, I'm going to jump ahead to this pedigree. As you can see, I have more with less here. We'll get to that in a second. Actually, we'll go over our slates right now. So the main thing you want in your pedigree is focus. You get the 2 channel stacks, the 5 additional damage for every +1 additional channel stack. So essentially, every channel stack you get is now, instead of being 21.5, is now 26.5 additional damage for every channel stack. Plus, it gives you 2, so 26.5 additional. You're looking at 53% additional just with this alone, let alone the surplus of the spillage of all your other extra stacks that keeps adding on to it. So it's really good. The top stats here, obviously, are whatever the best you can get, and then you have more with less. So the bottom one here, I grabbed more with less because I found this for, I think it was like 1,600 or 2,000. That's expensive, but the real one that I wanted, the best. What is the best? Maybe it's this, maybe it's Subtle Impact, maybe it's Twisted Vision. There's so many other options here. I haven't had a chance to theoretically test them and play them all, and some of them don't even exist. You can't find them. This is what was available. This is really strong. Like I said, the main thing you're looking for is focus and trying to get the best thing under here you can. And there probably is maybe something better than more with less, but right now it's working for me. I got them off my boots and it's working. So we're going to run with it. Next on your slates, the main thing you're looking for here are channel stacks. You do want to have at least 1 focus blessing, because we'll get into that when I go into my gear, but I do need to have 4 focus blessings for the 2 budget rings I'm using. And once you get to the point where you're not using these rings, then you won't have to worry about this. You can switch it over to a max channel. But ideally, you want to get as many max channel stacks as you can in here. The focus blessing, you can grab here. You can put on a ring. If you have the 4 focus blessings somewhere else, you don't need it here. But I do need it here. As for the other stats, I haven't really gone out of my way to min-max these. I found all of these on the ground myself. I didn't buy any of them, and I just branded, and whatever I got. So, you know, max speed. None of this stuff here helps me. This got lucky and rolled stuff that actually helps me. This is probably one of my better slates. Over here, not a lot going on for me. We got a little bit, but it is what it is, right? So don't go, if you want to go out of your way, try and find stats that help you. Something like this is probably really good. Alternatively, you can get some intelligence or energy shield regain. And those are your slates. That's the concept of the slates you're looking to do. All right, so we did that. Skills. We have mind control, control spell, passivism, cataclysm, guard, and mind control, entice. Now there is the support here that everyone knows about. It's the one that says for every extra link, which I have lots of because of all my max channel stacks, gives you lots of damage. And you're wondering, Mike, why don't you have that? Well, it's expensive. In my opinion, it's priced higher than I want to pay for it. I know if I wait a little bit, or a week, maybe more. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that price will come back down to a more realistic, I'm willing to pay price point. I'm not in a rush to break any damage records right away, so I'll wait till that price comes down. But if you have that support, or you want to get ahead of the game, get that support, you would probably replace guard pacifism in this situation. If you replace guard, there's other ways to get your barrier. If you replace pacifism, well, you get your damage back elsewhere. Alternatively, if you have the control spell candle, which is what we're working towards, you just drop control spell, you put in that support, the support that I mentioned from canvas, and you have a control spell on your candle. All right, but this is our mind control links. There's lots of various ways to put it together. I keep switching it around, but that's where I'm at. Over here, we have our corruption with preparation, Terran of Malice, extended duration. We have our speed phantom. Again, this is here just to get some extra cooldown recovery, reaping agony. If I had more energy, I'd put more stuff on here. But also, this is another thing you can mess around with. You can put a Star Stalker here if you don't like blinking, and you just throw a preparation and like extended duration or a well-fought battle or something to boost up your Star Stalker. I like blinking personally. I don't have that support. The support every time you blink would nerf your damage, but because, and what I mean by support is the canvas one for every extra links, because you're channeling, you gain the damage regardless as if you have the stacks or not. But for when you have the support, that one specifically needs you to have max channel stacks, because the way mind control works is for every stack you have currently, it will link to somebody else. So you need to hit your max stacks to have your maximum links for that support that I'm currently not using to get its maximum value. And once you have that set up, blinking actually hurts you a little bit. So you might not want the blink, you may want Star Stalker there. Right now, I don't have that set up. I can get away with still blinking. I'm gonna do it. I like speed. Over here, we are using Shadow Swamp. Now, I am planning to switch this to a different setup. This is kind of like my support kind of system right now. It's not meant to be damage. It's meant to activate a lot of stuff I need activated. And I do plan to switch to a different skill. However, again, we've run into some cost issues buying the things we need to showcase that setup. So we are using this. This is a budget bootlegged Band-Aid, essentially doing the same thing that I plan to do in the future, but much cheaper. The main things you need here are Stillwater support and Splatter. And I just bought the cheapest ones I could find. I bought this one for like 4 and this one for 5 or something. Like I said, this was meant to be a Band-Aid budget. Comboed it with Preparation, Reaping Agony, and Blinding. Blinding is here for a reason. It's another control effect, and we'll get into why control effects are very important. We are going to end up with the Black Hole here. We have Perpetual Motion to keep that thing going. We did get a big cooldown recovery, so this thing does have almost all uptime. It falls off for a few seconds, but honestly, it's mainly meant for boss support, not clearing trash. I don't really have an issue with trash. This is big damage on the boss. And of course, it is a crowd control effect with the reverse knockback. So that's pretty cool. Over here, we do have swiftness. You can switch the swiftness to a corrosion imbue. I need it because I do need to hit 5 auras instead of 4 because of the boots I bought. So that would be my 5th aura. Corrosion imbue is not an aura. You could also put on, no, you can just put this on. We don't have the mana yet, but we are going to work a way to get a bigger aura on here eventually, elemental resistance, possibly when we have the sealed mana to be able to support it. But right now we do have the swiftness with the aura amp and the restrain. We have the spell amp with the restrain and the aura amp. We have the precise energy fortress. Regular energy fortress is fine. Restrain and aura amp, and the erosion enhancement, restrain, aura amp, and seal conversion. And all of this is on there. My 5th aura is the deep pain from my boots, precise deep pain. That would be my 5 auras. Activates my boots. Everything's gravy. All right. Over here on my candles, these are not the candles you are looking for. My goal was I was leveling really fast. I didn't want to die, and I wanted to move fast. So the candles I have represent that. These are not damage candles, but I will show you them. As you can see, I have elemental resistance, move speed, was the main things I was looking here, kept me alive, kept me moving. Over here, I have the Soul Eater mod, which gives me lots of move speed, a little bit of damage, resistance, and skill effect. Ideally, you're looking for like max channel stack candles, control spell candle, sealed mana reservation for auras candles, damage for each channel stack you have. Damage mods, essentially. These are defensive mods. If you want to be defensive, you can put it on. If you want move speed mods, you can put them on. But that's currently where I'm at. They're not the best of the best candles, but most of the stuff isn't the best of the best. All right. Over here are our traits. We're just going to go straight down here for single target DPS when I'm going against Ordok or the training dummy. This is where you're going. If you're doing maps, I like to switch over to this one in the middle here, the Tarnished Sage. For mapping, this gives you more move speed, which I like in maps. Otherwise, I'm over here for damage. And this will give you Sacrificial Pawn, which is another control effect. Or is it Mountain of Sins is a control effect? There you go. For my memories, not the best. You are looking for an intelligence base. You are looking for an energy base. And I prefer the move speed base, but a cast speed base is acceptable here as well. As for the mods, well, again, you're looking for the best you can get. Energy Shield and is your defensive layers. Affliction is a damage layer. And, oh, that's not Reaping. Reaping cooldown is also another damage layer. So those are the 3 big stats you're looking for. Some either defense, spell block is great, stuff like that. Or you can go damage with Affliction or Reaping as your main damage stats. Oh god, the gear! The gear! So right away, we'll just jump to the main thing that we're all here for. This is the engine that I'm building around. It gives me the Intimidate, gains an additional base effect. 40 additional damage taken for each type of crowd control effect. You may have heard me mention casually crowd control effects here, crowd control effect there, blinding here, Mountain of Sins there. All these things I pointed out were important, and this is why. So I get tons of damage. 40 times 6 is, well, and it's multiplied. Wait, it doesn't say multiply anymore? Oh, why doesn't it say multiply anymore? Okay, anyway, still tons of damage, and it's really good. And you want to get all your control effects. Over here, we're using Undying Faith. Alternatively, you can also use a Twilight Vestment. This will give you more damage. This will keep you alive longer. So this is more of a defensive option, especially if you're in the energy setup like I am. I don't know if I'm going to stay Energy Shield, especially since I have 2 evasion key pieces of gear. I might shift over to that. I haven't invested in my crafting, so that I haven't wasted money yet on this. This is all sand, so it's not a big deal. But this would be a damage chest at the moment. This would be a defensive option at the moment. And of course, you could just craft your endgame chest if you have a priceless chest. I don't have a priceless chest. So you could just start on that if you want. Your gloves, you want to use these. Before this, I actually don't even remember what I was using before this. Something. I deleted it. Probably some really bad crafted pair of gloves. Oh, I was using the Reaping gloves. That's what I was using before this. I remember. If you want to use a cheaper pair of gloves, you can't get this yet. It's very, very simple. You go here, you go gloves, you get these. I think they've come down in price. 60 bucks, not bad. You want to try and get as high Reaping as you can. And I was using these before I switched over to the current gloves. All right. The Wind Walkers is same thing. I was using King's Boon before these. You don't need the Lone Walkers. I'm trying them out. They were a boost. They're not sending me to the moon. Maybe if it's corrupted, it'll feel better. We'll see, but they are pretty good. I did want to play around them, so that's why I picked them up early. The 2 rings I was mentioning and why you needed to have at least 4 max focus blessings is because you want to get your Thea to 0 max focus blessings being your maximum. Because every max you get brings you down 1 instead of up 1. So if you have 4 max, you're going to go from your 4 default down to 0. And if you're at 0, you're always at maximum. If you're always at maximum focus blessings being 0 in this case, then you will get the effect of the additional spell damage from this ring. And I have 2 of them. So that's double additional spell damage from these rings. A little bit of intelligence, a little bit of energy shield. This mod doesn't affect us. You can ignore the center mod. The main stuff we're looking for here is getting up to 4 max focus, so we're always at 0. I know it's a little confusing, but yeah, it makes sense, I promise you. You want 4 max blessings, so it brings us down to 0, and you'll always have this additional spell damage going off. All right, our helmet is a tier 2. We haven't touched this at all. This is still from my traveler killing days. You're looking for just basic defensive and reaping, intelligence, gear energy, reaping, affliction, erosion. Nothing crazy. Over on your neck, you're looking for, I'm playing around with stuff here, I may switch my all stats to a barrier, chance to gain barrier, and then I'll take guard off of my mind control setup and put something else. I may switch this to sealed mana compensation for energy fortress if I need to squeeze on. I need to make more sealed mana compensation. One, that'll boost up my lone walkers, and two, it will make room so I can put on precise elemental resistance if I feel I want to be tankier instead of moving faster. That's how I would do this. I haven't really messed around with this yet, but those are options I'm looking at. Maybe you want to play around with either one of those two, putting the barrier on the bottom, so instead of the stats, so you can remove the support and put a different support on. Or you can drop the damage up here and the stats down here is what I would do. I'd keep the intelligence, just drop the stats and the damage, and I put the sealed mana compensation. So that's my current next setup. As for my belt, I'm using a max channel stack base that I found from the Sandlord event. You're going to throw some affliction effect up on there, some intelligence, some damage, some energy shield, some resistance. Pretty standard. Over here on your main weapon, this one was important, so I did tier 1 this up. You want to try and get a Thorn Sea Splitter. It'll give you, there's a 37.9. I think there's a 39, isn't there? There might be a better one. Did I use the wrong one because I couldn't find it? Let's see. I think so. Yeah. So you don't want to use a Thorn Sea Splitter. I lied. You want to use, ideally, if you can, a Dark Gaze Scepter. That'll give you, as you can see, 2 extra % damage over time. I couldn't find one. I just bit the bullet. This will probably end up being my offhand in the future, but ideally you do want that 2 extra % if you can, right? So we're going to go back here. The stats you're looking for here is you want that reap, you want that intelligence, you want that damage over time, erosion, affliction effect, and reaping duration. Over here, you have 2 choices. I had my tier 2 version. Essentially, it's the same thing here, but in tier 2 form. Or you can put a +6 oversight if you don't want to craft a placeholder, and you can get this. That's great. Alternatively, you can just put on a non-corrupted oversight as well. Also good. So those are your options there. Now, for this is very important. These will not work unless you have a source of intimidate. You don't naturally intimidate. You have to go out of your way to get intimidate, and you do have 2 options. This is a cheap version. If you don't want to spend lots of money, you can get this for 1 FE, and this will activate your intimidate, which will activate your gloves. Very good option, especially on a budget. Alternatively, the expensive way and the better way in the long run is buying this Kissamect. This Kissamect will give you a 100% chance to inflict intimidate on hit, and it'll give you additional damage against low life enemies, which is a little bonus, but that's not the real reason we want it. We just want that intimidate on hit. Now, also, mind control doesn't naturally hit. So just having mind control by itself will not put intimidate on the dummy. See? But intimidate's up here. But intimidate goes now because I have the shadow swamp. Like I said, this is my utility spell. The utility being it's adding the blinding, which is a thing. It's doing the hits, which is applying the intimidate. It's debuffing them. It's doing everything. It's more utility than it is damage. And that's the utility behind it. So you do need the intimidate on hit, Kissamect, or the chest before you get the gloves that I'm wearing. So make sure you don't jump ahead and buy these gloves, or they won't be working without either this budget chest for 1 FE, which will activate your intimidate, or the very expensive Kissamect that I just showed you. I think that's it. We went over the slates, we went over the skills, we went over this, and we went over the gear. So there it is, guys. That is my current state of the Thea. We are rocking around 2,000, 2,100 Ordok level. I don't know my DPS. I'm going to say somewhere around 40, 50 billion is a guess if I'm around that 2,100 Ordok area. We're farming tier 8 2+. We're easily doing the profound, as you saw. Little death here, little death there. You can play around it. It wasn't the worst, but it is a very fun build. I will say it is an expensive build, and it is ambitious, especially going forward. The things now that I'm looking at are all super expensive. Do I actually have preparation on this? That's not what we want. We put, there we go. All right. So hopefully this helps you. And of course, if you have any questions about this build, this guide, or just what I'm doing, I will be streaming every day live on Twitch. I'll put a link in the descriptions below. And if you have any questions, head over there to get an instant reply. I do play there 12, 13 hours a day, which means I'm not looking at my YouTube comments until I go to bed. And when I do, sometimes I forget. But anyway, point is, I do get to my YouTube comments eventually, but I feel bad because of how delayed it is. So I ask you come over to the Twitch, ask me your question directly, and I'll get you your answer. I will update this guide throughout the season as I find more fun things to add to it. And I'll show you how we kill season 20 eventually. Let's hope. All right, guys. Hopefully this helps. I'll catch you in the next video. Happy hunting.